Hi, everyone, and welcome to my live. This is my podcast, Real Talk with Coach Sherry, here on YouTube. And I said, let me go live and have this discussion to see what your thoughts are on this topic. So, I was listening to a content creator, and his content was on point. Oh, my goodness. And one of the things that he said was oftentimes people are always asking, well, what do you do for a living? And people go into their title, their company, their business, the type of work they do, or the type of business they may have, whatever the case. They really elaborate on that. They go into grave detail about that. And then he said, instead of asking that, how about asking people, what do you do while you are living? And that is similar to when I'm doing like an interview prep workshop or something, or but just preparing people for an interview, or if they have a public speaking engagement and they are going to be, doing some networking and they just want to really tighten up their conversation and the things that they say. And one of the toughest things that I find with clients in that way is for them to be able to talk about themselves personally. Who are they? And so when he said that, I said, wow, that is amazing. People can always talk about what they do. They can talk about a new item that they may have purchased, technology. And absolutely, if you are a parent, talking about your kids and the accolades that they have, the things that they're into. But as soon as someone asks you about yourself, about how you live in your life, people kind of freeze. They don't know what to say. They, just kind of pause and are like, they start stuttering. And so, for today's podcast, I wanted to touch on that. What do you do while you are living? And, I find it even more challenging when I'm working with people that are more vintage, over 50, and they've maybe have already raised their children or are still in the midst of raising their children. They are caring for their parents. They know what medicines their parents are taking, their doctor's appointments. They're so busy doing this, that, and the other. Or they may find themselves empty nesters and all of the busy things that they had to do in the back in the day, like going and taking their children to sporting events, traveling, family gatherings. And as our families are starting to thin out, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I know I have. And those family reunions are far and few. The elders of the families had put all that together, had kept all that together, bringing us all back to the homestead, to where it all began. And then, as I want to say, my generation, our generation, when we started to get older and were taking the reins, we wanted to do destination family reunions. We wanted to take cruises, go to different places. We didn't want to go back to the homestead. And then people started to say, well, I want to go someplace too, but I don't want to go where you're choosing. And so you find people, families getting together less and less. Now you see them mostly getting together at things such as funerals, sometimes the occasional wedding. People are still getting married. Things that are just so far and few. And it's really a shame because I just remember how amazing it was to have those special family gatherings during the holidays. And now, families aren't living as close to each other as they used to. And so we find ourselves, halfway in our 50s. And you know, we just aren't as booked and busy on a personal tip anymore. We are more engrossed into our careers, and we're probably at the coming around the corner towards the end of that career. And so we're looking up and it's like, wait a minute, who am I? Where am I? What is this? How do I live life now? And so I am just here today, tonight, this evening, this morning, whenever you're listening to this podcast. I do know I have quite a few team members that are part of this team that live overseas, and thank you and welcome. But I just want to know, or to encourage you rather, to stop and smell the roses each and every moment that you possibly can throughout the day. I know it's a hustle and bustle. I know that you're going here and there, or you might be so paused and it might be definitely quiet where you are because it's just, the household has changed so much. You may have children that are just entering college and the last one just left. You may, just be you and your spouse or no spouse at all. You may be working virtually and have been for the past 4 years, and that's, you're just in that routine of getting up and just going to work. You may be going into the office but don't really have a lot of contact because people have different schedules. Whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing, even if it's no more than going to the grocery store, going out to get your mail, whatever it is, find things that will make life worth living. Find the beauty in things. When you step outside, smell the air. What do you smell? Do you smell the grass? Do you smell the trees or the blossoms? I know we are in the fall, but listen, here in the Carolinas, there are still flowers blooming. The weather is incredible. And maybe it's incredible where you are too. And you may smell different things, more seasonal things, more evergreens, whatever. Heck, if you are in a more urban area, you might smell, unfortunately, gasoline from the vehicles and the traffic. What are the sounds that you're hearing? Do you hear birds? Do you hear vehicles, horns, sirens? Be grateful that you can hear. I know someone that, she's deaf and she has to have signers with her when she's at special events or at meetings. And, just understanding that, wow, she's never heard her children cry. She has two young children. She just had a baby that's going to be one, and another that's 3 or 4 years old, but she's never heard them cry. So be grateful that we can hear, be grateful that we can see, seeing the beauty in everything, seeing how intricate God has made nature and the way that the vines are growing, the birds that are flying. I absolutely love it when I see a red cardinal because I know that is grace. That is something that special is about to happen. I always say a special prayer when I see a red cardinal flying around, and they're not that. You don't see them that often. They're not that obvious, and just really taking that moment to explore, seeing that rose growing in the city. What's that? A rose in Harlem, which is, I can't recall her name right now. She's a singer. She was married to a basketball player, but just seeing those things and appreciating them when you do see them. I know my dad is 86, and he always just wants to be dropped off if I take him somewhere in the front, and then tells me to go ahead and park it. And I'm like, Dad, why don't you want to walk? You need to walk. I mean, and he's like, I just don't want to walk. And I said, why? Does your feet hurt? He said, no. Does your ankles hurt? No. Your knees? No. Your hips? No. Now at 86, we know that's very fortunate. Your lower back? No. Nothing hurts on you? And he'll say, no, nothing hurts. I just don't want to walk. I don't want to stand. I've done it all, most of my life, and I'm tired. I just want to, be dropped off. And now, his doctors are telling him he needs to be more mobile. There's nothing wrong with him. And I told him, listen, there are people that wish they could walk. My mother couldn't walk for the last year of her life. And I know she would have loved to have been able to walk. I definitely let her feet touch the ground every single day. But there are people that literally cannot walk. And it's not because they don't want to, it's just because they can't. So, all the things that you can still do, having all of your senses, having your wherewithal, don't let it go to the waste, just because life has changed for you, because your family dynamics may have changed and you're not as booked and busy, or you just don't feel like anyone needs your assistance because everyone is well on their way. If everyone is well on your way, great job, kudos to you. Now is your time to definitely uh, figure out, what are you doing while you are living. You already know what you do for a living. You already know what you have done for a living. And I hope that you still are living and looking for other ways to live your life and live it out loud. I went to a conference and there was a panel, and on it was a panel of professionals. They did a variety of things. A lot of them were philanthropists, researchers, and financiers. And so one of them was a former CEO of a bank many years ago. He's been retired, did exceptionally well, and he was saying that the work that he now does, this is the work that he's doing while he is living, is what is keeping him alive and what keeps him going, waking up, gives him that energy. And he said he is 89 years old. I was like, what? And that inspired me so much. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, listen, you're 89. That's amazing that you are, like, the things that he was talking about are happening right now. It's innovative. It's moving the city forward. It's amazing. And the fact that he's still involved and he has the knowledge and he's wanting to see the changes, I was like, that's inspiring to me because I absolutely love what I do. I know it's my passion, it's my purpose. And to see him at 89 to still be doing it, don't have to do it, but do it because he wants to, not because he has to. And it's interesting because typically, if you have a certain amount of means, people will always give a man a pass for working, for having a business, for having another career, for being out there doing something. They actually expect it. They are always asking, so what are you doing now? A man could have just retired with millions in investments and in a bank and with discretionary income. They may have cash flow, just all kinds of things that's available. But people will always ask, so what are you doing now? But for a woman to work in her passion, her purpose, it's like, you work? What are you doing? Why is that question? Why is the question such surprise and shock and not understanding? That always, baffled me. And I never could understand that. And so many people, when talking to a woman, and I've seen it on both sides of the coin, sitting in the same room. And, when they're talking to a woman, they'll say what they would do if they had X amount of dollars. Oh, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that anymore. They don't really know. And you don't really know what you would do or not do. But when it comes to talking to a man in that same room, same family household or whatever, they want to know, what are you doing next? So, don't let society dictate what it is that you're going to do, how you're going to live your life, and what do you do while you are living your life, especially when you are of a vintage age where you have experienced many things in life. And now is the time to really, truly explore those things that you absolutely love. And, if you're listening to this on the replay, let me know, what are some things that you are doing while you are living? Are you exploring the area in which you live? I've lived in many major cities. I've, worked in Manhattan. I'm from New Jersey, went to school in Pennsylvania. I lived in New Orleans, St. Louis, California, LA, and every place, and I live in Charlotte now, and every place I've ever lived, I've always thoroughly explored it. I wanted to know, who are the people? What are they like? What is the cuisine? What is this area known for? Anything that I had heard about, I wanted to check it out. I remember when we first moved to New Orleans, and I was so excited because I love history. And as you can see, I just had a series of videos regarding Jamestown settlement. And I also had one regarding Nat Turner in Virginia. Virginia is rich with history, let me tell you. But when we moved to New Orleans, and my husband's uncle was a history professor at, I believe it was Southern. because Southern and Grambling, I always get them mixed up. They're both in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But at any rate, I was like, oh my goodness, he's definitely going to know the answer to this. So I just remember, as a young girl reading the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman and also seeing that movie that Cicely Tyson played the main character. And I was like, and it took place in Louisiana. So I was like, oh my goodness, we're getting ready to move to New Orleans and I want to see where Miss Jane Pittman was from. I'm sure that there's some remnants of it or the area, at least the town or something. And so when I asked my husband's uncle about it, it was him and his girlfriend or lady friend, I should say. Um, they were like, "What?" That is not true. That is a story that is of many stories into one. That's not a true character. And I was so disappointed. But those are the types of things I would investigate when I would move to a new area. Like, what is it known for? What was the history behind it? And is it available to explore and to see? So, when you are trying to enjoy your life, especially when you're over 50, I want you to try to focus on these key areas. Find meaning, engage in activities that provide purpose, like volunteer or nurture some relationships. Look back to some relationships that you recall that you've had a great time. Maybe it's a friend group or maybe even family members. I know here lately, I have cousins that we have a group chat and we're trying to keep up with what each other are doing in our lives. And so that is nurturing those relationships. Revisit those relationships, have those great conversations, especially the ones that make you laugh so hard. I have a dear friend, we've been best friends since fourth grade, and we don't see each other often. We don't talk at all. We don't talk very often. I'm not going to say at all, but we don't talk very often. But when we do speak, picking up the phone, we just start talking like we left off from the conversation before. And initially, it always makes us laugh because we do it so matter of fact. But, those types of conversations, if you're feeling a little like, I need to get reconnected, reconnect with an old friend. Also, staying active, incorporate regular physical activity to boost your health and mood. I know here the weather is still gorgeous. So during the day, take some walks. I do walk 5 days a week in and around the city for sure. But definitely look and see where you can walk. Explore new parks that might be in your area that you haven't gone to. There's a lot of places now that have developed greenways, which are really good walking places. If you like to ride bikes or scooters or anything like that, those are great places to do that. Also, eating healthy. The older we get, we have to fuel our body with good things. So you want to prioritize eating balanced foods and making sure you're getting your fruits and vegetables. I know for me, with my heart challenge, I have to make sure to keep my potassium up. So I do try to eat at least one banana a day. Eating your protein, however you get it, whether you're a vegetarian, vegan, or you eat meat, just making sure you're getting what you need. Now that we're going into the fall and pretty soon the winter, even though these days are still so beautiful, making sure you have the right vitamins, vitamin D, especially if you're not going outside as much, because that can, hinder your mood as well. And you might not feel like you're living your best life if you're not feeling good. Also maintain those connections, but also embrace new experiences. Try new hobbies. Learn something new to stimulate your mind. We take it for granted. Oh, well, I read a lot. Okay, but what other hobbies do you have? Hobbies are so important. I recently heard that that is one of the things that's missing in our society is people going into and experiencing new hobbies. I noticed here on YouTube, there's a lot of creatives here, that do painting and decorating. I know, I don't want to say the names because I can't think of them off the top of my head. Not good with that. But, there's a lot of great content creators that will paint online. And that's another thing that you can do on your channel. You can show what you're creative in. If you make jewelry, make a piece of jewelry while you are live or do a pre-recorded video. Those are some ideas that you can have. If you have a book, I know there was a content creator that was an author, and she would read chapters of her book on her live. And, so there's so many things, and you will be so amazed at how inspiring that could be for someone, how therapeutic it can be for someone. So that is one way that you can also give back. And definitely practicing gratitude, being thankful all the time. Again, there are some people that can't see, that can't hear or walk, talk, that are bedridden. And the fact that you can get up, even if you are bedridden, if you still have any portion of your body that can, receive any type of sensation, even just, being able to hear the conversation. I know there was a young man, and he had ALS. He was 19 years old. And when I finally got to him, the only thing he could move was his eyelids. That's it. He could not speak, he could not move his mouth, he could not move any muscle in his body but his eyelids. And his mother was just so grateful to still have him. He was there. I could tell he was trying to smile. Even his mother said, "Oh my goodness, he's trying to smile." Just so happy to be there, because again, with ALS, your body dies but your mind stays pure and good and in control. And so I was, having conversations with him, and he enjoyed that. So just him enjoying that moment, that's showing gratitude. And I was grateful to be able to bring some joy to him and his family, for sure. So hobbies again are crucial for your overall well-being, offering numerous benefits. Hobbies, oh my goodness. If you have a hobby, if you're here live, let me know in the chat. If you're watching this replay, let me know what type of hobbies you have. I know I play the flute. I've played it since fourth grade. That's where I met one of my dearest friends in the band in fourth grade, and that's a hobby. I do love to read. That's a hobby. I love to walk. I love to, arrange flowers. I grew up in that type of business. So, when I get fresh flowers or silk flowers, I like to arrange them and have them in the home. So, what are your hobbies? You want to also know the benefits. So, the benefits of having a hobby, it helps with your mental health. It helps to reduce stress, anxiety, depression. It enhances your mood and your life satisfaction. I see Patrick is saying that his hobby or their hobby is art. And art is a amazing hobby. They have all those adult coloring books. I have a dear friend, Monique, who has written an adult coloring book. It has some writing prompts as well as images to color. That's therapeutic. Painting is therapeutic. And even, designing clothes, there's all different types of arts, all different forms of art. There's some people that design t-shirts that are here on YouTube, and they show their process, which is very interesting. So, and you've been doing this since 1999. That's really cool. I created or started the hobby of making jewelry. And I thought it was a hobby, but it turned into this huge business that I was not prepared mentally for. So, again, if you have that hobby and if you are really good at it, it may kind of slip and slide into a business. And if it does, definitely be prepared. And I'm glad to see you here, Patrick. Thank you for being here. All right. The next thing is physical health. So many hobbies, they promote physical activity, and they can improve your cardiovascular health by reducing chronic disease risks. So, I do have a heart disease. I want to call it a disease. And it's interesting because initially they told me that I couldn't do any physical activity because of it. And then they said, you know what, start incorporating some physical activity, because we need to see if the changes in it is because of your lack of activity or because of the activity. So I've been trying, incorporating a little bit more of traditional cardio, being in the gym on the elliptical, just, very low level. But I do walk. I walk a lot, and I do the sitting squat. I don't know if you all are familiar with the sitting squat. I was trying to share it with my line sisters at homecoming, and it's so many benefits. If you aren't familiar with it, definitely check it out, the sitting squat. But doing what I can to increase my and promote good health for sure, because I need to be here. I got stuff to do still. Also, social connections, that could be a hobby, fostering social interactions, and that helps to combat loneliness and enhances relationships. I know there are some people that are content creators, and this is, again, it's therapeutic. It's giving them a sense of community, communicating with all different types of people all over the world, literally, and it helps them to have more purpose. They know that they are putting out good energy, good information. This is their legacy. This is my legacy, putting information that my future will be able to see. And so that is another way that you can look at it as a hobby. There's also cognitive benefits because it stimulates your brain. It helps you to maintain cognitive function and potentially slowing the decline with age. I have less years ahead of me than I did, do behind me at this point in my life. And so I want to maintain a, healthy cognitive brain function, so that when, I can still understand what's going on, and be have an impact and be part of those change, just like that man I was sharing with you that's 89 years old and was on a panel. What? That was just so remarkable to me. So definitely, look into hobbies. If you are new to an area, join an organization. There are many out there, some nonprofits that are always looking for volunteers. You can join a church if you're part of a sorority or fraternity. Look into doing that. If you've, gone to college, even if you maybe didn't graduate, you can still join the alumni association in many cases, and see what kind of activities they have going on. Also, Meetup. Meetup is an online area, place where there's all different types of groups. If you are into art, like Patrick or many other content creators, if you are into reading, if you're into hiking, jogging, even vacationing, there's different types of Meetup groups like that you can connect with. It's like connecting with kindred spirits in your area so that you can meet new people. Trivia game nights. If you go to Eventbrite, there are opportunities where you can go to game nights. I know my son, he's 26 years old, and he hosts game nights periodically, I want to say maybe twice a month. And I'm so surprised because my son is, he's an ambivert, but more introverted than anything. But he really enjoys bringing people together. He's recognized that especially in Charlotte, it's over 100 people that move here every day, and they move here, and I think when they move here, they land here and are like, okay, now what? And there's nothing that's tapping them on the shoulder saying, come on. And so they become lonely. They become disconnected, and, you know, just feeling some kind of way. And then that's when you start hearing those stories of, oh, don't move to Charlotte. And that's because those people were waiting for that tap on the shoulder. But in the line of work that my son is in, he encounters many young professionals. And so he has this game night to bring them all together. They're from all over the country, and it gives them a chance to learn more about each other, meet new people. And again, you can go to Eventbrite and check out other game nights that might be in your area and more appropriate for you. Taking dance classes, dancing and music is it's good. It's food for your soul. It's great exercise. And there's all different types of dance that you can do. A lot of people are into salsa, line dancing, things that will, have you meet new people. Also joining a book club or a chess club, bowling, there's bowling clubs as well. There's a lot of different activities that you can get into, because when someone says, what do you do while you are living? Those are some things that you can share with them. But in addition to that, without even being asked, just enjoy all that's going on around you. Enjoy the life that you see outside, the life that you see inside. Make your space a beautiful space that you enjoy going to, that you find comfort in. I hope that I was able to give you some great tips on what to do while you are living. And again, leave me a comment and let me know. I see Patrick Sargent had told me art, but else do you do, in terms of your life, so that you can have that life that you love to live? All right, everyone, it's been my pleasure. I hope you all have a great evening. Remember, practice every day. Practice so hard that when you play, you will always play to win. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I am Coach Sherry.